I always loved coming home. It's not a bad night for it. Even as a kid, I had this burning desire, I had that clear goal about what I wanted to do. My name's Toa Neal-Thorne, professional athlete, professional wheelchair basketball player. Made my first World Championship team at 17.
Incredible feeling, incredible.
I've been lucky enough to compete in 2 Paralympic Games. My first Paralympic Games was in Rio 2016, and then my second Games was in Tokyo. And I kind of live between Darwin and Madrid at the moment. It always seems to be you need to leave to get better. I left Darwin and I got to that next level, and I was like, oh, you need to leave Australia to be a professional and to keep being an elite player. I was born in Nhulunbuy, born with a disability. It's called arthrogryposis. And basically that meant that before birth, my hips, knees and ankles didn't form properly. Which meant up until the age of 3, my mum had to take me down south for different types of surgeries with the hope that I could walk. So I guess from a young age I've kind of had to leave home to try and get better. I feel like I think it's an ingrained memory in me of when I realised that sport is what I wanted to do, and going to a Paralympic Games was the goal. I was 3 years old when we were watching the opening ceremony to the Sydney Olympic Games. One of the athletes, I can't remember from what country, he was in a wheelchair and he got out and he started doing a handstand and started handstand walking around the track instead of being in his chair. And that kind of connected with me, especially at that time where that was kind of what I did. I'd get out of my chair and I didn't really let my chair dictate where I go. And I thought, oh yeah, I can do that. I can do a handstand, and tried to do a handstand and straight away fell over and got carpet burn on my nose. I tried, and I think that's kind of been my motto for everything in life is at least, give it a go. I think living in Nhulunbuy, in a kind of place where you got those opportunities to explore nature and explore everything. I think I was the only disabled person in the town that I remember. All my mates were running around, and everything that we did, it was kind of like, hey Tom, we're doing this, we're going to go onto the sandpit and swing on the monkey bars, and you've got to find a way to climb up to the top and do it. I think that inclusiveness translated into sport, especially when we moved to Darwin, and I was kind of in that age of organised sport with kids. And instead of my parents saying, no, we can't do that, it was, yeah, sure, how can we find a way for you to play soccer? So, I was the goalie, and again, I'd leave my chair at the edge of one of the goals and jump off and be on the ground and, be darting across and trying to, stop the balls. So those kind of inclusive ways, from an early age, I think taught me that, things are possible. There's not really boundaries to be set just because you're in a wheelchair. I hadn't really seen much of wheelchair basketball. The national team came up for the Arafura Games, and that was the first time I really saw a proper wheelchair basketball match, and it was a bit crazy, it was a bit hectic. There's a lot of crashing, there's a lot of banging, but as a 10-year-old, you love that intensity and you love the passion and the fire. So I think even as a kid, I kind of saw that if you work hard, that's when you can kind of achieve your dreams. But my aspirations, even as a 12-year-old, were to make it to the national team as quick as possible and put on the Australian jersey. Kind of got up to the Australian squad was you have to move away from Darwin to make the senior team. And so I had to start travelling from a really young age down south, which I just it kind of didn't sit right with me, because I feel like Darwin does have the opportunities to be able to do things, and I had such a good supportive friendship group in Darwin. I was enjoying my schooling, I was enjoying basketball, and even at that age I kind of felt that if I moved away I was going to lose the love of the sport because it was taking away from my life. Which made it more difficult, because then I was kind of leaving on a Thursday from school to get down to Brisbane to make training, to make the games on the weekend, then catching the red eye on the Sunday night to get back to make school on Monday. But it was definitely worth it. You can get things done in Darwin, and you can kind of make it to that next stage in Darwin. I think CJ and I, we're probably different to 90% of the world, where COVID gave us an opportunity to come home and saw an opportunity to develop something here for kids that were coming through, like what we did 15 years ago.
It's all about showing that they've got options, whereas we didn't have that luxury of being able to play for a team in our own backyard here in Darwin.
There was the talk of the Salties Darwin Salty's happening with the able-bodied teams, and we thought, why couldn't we bring that with the wheelchair teams as well? I think everybody from Darwin's the same, that it holds a pretty special place in our heart.
This is part of the thing.
I think, having that mindset of, anything is possible and not letting any barriers kind of stop you is part of Darwin.
Might go to Sydney, see you off.
Have a
I
couple.
don't know how many months it'll be before I see you again.
We're kind of close in the community, and we're super proud of being here, and I'm definitely proud of being a Territorian for sure.